wasn't good. Good evening, everyone. Please rise. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Nash.
Almighty God, we ask for your blessings upon the members of this council as we assemble here today in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all of our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will still instill respect, compassion, thoughtfulness in all our deliberations. Give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trusts placed in us by the citizens of our community. Amen.
Amen. Alderman Terrell Wilson, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizen Comment General.
Thank you. I declare Citizen Comment General open. And at the time, we have one person who signed up ahead of time. That's Mr. Marvin Cerruto. Remind everyone you have 3 minutes. At the microphone, please give your name and address for the public record. Thank you.
Marvin Cerruto, 100 Star Street, Norwich, Connecticut, United States of America. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. For those of you who have newly arrived, welcome aboard. I plan to attend every meeting I possibly can. If I'm not here, send me a get well card, or you may visit me at Lubinsky's. Presently, if you take a poll of my family, we own approximately $2 million worth of property in the city of Norwich. So taxation is very important to myself and my family. I plan on coming here and being a portion of your conscience, especially maintaining a low mill rate, as low as we possibly can. I realize the school budget is about 2/3. Just a reminder, just because you want to maintain an efficient and disciplined school budget does not mean you do not like children. In the past, I've talked about relationships with Hartford, Connecticut, and Norwich, Connecticut, and with Hartford and Washington, D.C. It seems to be something that in the past, when I learned about government, going to Broad Street School, there was a relationship there. It seems as though that relationship has disintegrated. That's just my perception. Whenever I'm up here and when I speak, I always speak on my perceptions and the homework that I've done. Presently, we're going into general session up in Hartford. I think it's foolish. I think it could have been avoided. The former governor thought things were ill-conceived, but he's been told differently by a court, and now we're looking at tolls, which we do have a standing resolution. I'd like to remind you that we are against tolls. He says that Rhode Island lawsuit is meritless. Well, he may learn a lesson in this. So let's try to improve on that. I'll leave you with this. As I say, enjoy your holidays. It's a quote from Admiral Bull Halsey. There are no extraordinary people. There are only extraordinary situations that ordinary people have to deal with. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak under Citizen Comment General? Yeah. Mr. Crabb.
Good evening. David Crabb, 47 Prospect Street. We've all listened to periodic warnings about being just one generation from losing the freedoms described in the Declaration of Independence, Constitution, and Bill of Rights. Often omitted are the laws initiated in Congress and signed into law. For example, Social Security, war on poverty, LBJ's threat to tax churches if sermons included Congress, and many believe that each should have been an amendment to the Constitution. The swamp President Trump mentions has proven to be a nest of robbers who resent losing millions of dollars that are being spread across the economy presently. These tax cuts, regulation cuts, are seen as employees hiring, and Department of Labor reported unemployment for every category has retreated to a 50-year low. That's 1969, when the war on poverty began. This council needs to increase the urgency for correcting the public education to mate with climate change. Didn't President Obama just buy a Cape Cod mansion for millions, despite sea level changing threats? Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak under citizen comment general? Anyone else under the citizen comment general? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Rodney Boyd, 62 Roosevelt Avenue. I step up to the podium here, I get 3 minutes to speak. From now on, I'd like to see every other person that steps up to this podium, 3 minutes. I don't mind the 3 minutes. If I can't get it across in 3 minutes, that's good. I don't want to see somebody else with an agenda stand up here for 7, 8 minutes and drone on and on and on and on and on. I've seen it too many times. Now, you folks are going into the budget season here. We have some new faces. Welcome aboard. You've not heard this little speech before. These guys all have. What it amounts to is, don't make a budget, turn around and borrow $1 million, $3 million, $5 million after you made a budget. You have to take baby steps. We have too much on our credit card now. Every time we want to do something, we just break out that bond issue and just put it on our credit card. I do not think that we make out by putting up a bond issue and paying on it for 20 years, 2%, 2.5%, 3%, whatever the bond market happens to be at that particular day and time. I've bought bonds before, and they're a moneymaker for someone like myself. They aren't a money maker for the city of Norwich, and we pay about $5 million a year servicing those bonds. And I'm not crazy about that. But if you want to get things done sometimes, I understand a bond issue. I do. I understand that. And I don't take offense at whatever you folks do. I just pay the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak under citizen comment general? Anyone else under citizen comment general? Third time. Anyone else under citizen comment general? Seeing no one else, I declare it closed, and thank you for your sharing of ideas.
Petition and communication, number 1, letter of resignation of Gerald Martin from the Harbor Management Commission.
Motion, please, to accept the communication. Alderman Nash, second Alderman Gould. Is there discussion? Alderman Gould.
I would just like to take this time to thank Mr. Martin for many years of dedicated service to harbor management. We'll have big shoes to fill with his resignation.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Yes, Alderman DeLucia.
I echo Alderwoman Gould's comments, and I would just like to say to Mr. Martin on the record that I've enjoyed working with him, and I enjoy talking with him about fishing and about the waterfront, and I know how much he truly cares about the waterfront and the river in this area, and we will keep the ball moving forward, Jerry, I promise. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
City Manager's report.
Thank you. Now, this is the City Manager's report for December 16th, 2019. The official swearing-in ceremony for the Council and Board of Education took place on Tuesday, December 3rd, and was followed by a reception. Congratulations and thank you to family members, friends, and local dignitaries that attended. Special thanks to Rabbi Rabinowitz for the opening prayer, City Assessor Donna Ralston for singing the national anthem, and BSA Troop 4 and PAC 4 for their participation. Also, thank you to City Clerk Betsy Barrett, Mayor Secretary Bonnie Kuprick, my assistant Jackie Barbarossa, and Building, Facilities, and Grounds Manager John Johnson and staff for their assistance in organizing the event. I attended the monthly Southeastern Conference of Council of Governments and the Southeastern Area Transit meetings. I also attended the badge pinning ceremony for firefighter Zachary Topping. Congratulations to our new firefighter. I also attended the annual Conference of Municipalities Convention that was held December 3rd and 4th. The city was recognized and presented with the bronze certification for Sustainable Connecticut at the luncheon. In addition to the presentation, several staff members and I attended informative workshops at the event. Staff and I finalized the sale of the 20-year, $3.5 million bond for the city with an interest rate of 2.34%, which maintained our strong AA rating with Standard & Poor's. My assistant has scheduled a yearly goal-setting session for all council meetings for Saturday, February 8th, and additional information will follow in January. The Recreation Department's winter brochure is available in print and on the city's website with over 80 programs starting in January. Thank you to the Norwich Youth Action Council, a student-run community service organization supported by Norwich Youth and Family Services. Their annual holiday family fun night for K through 4 graders and their family was held on December 4th at the Senior Center. Over 120 people attended this free event that featured food, crafts, games, and a visit from Santa. The 28th annual Light Up City Hall event was held on the first Friday, December 6th. Thank you to the committee, sponsors, performers, and volunteers who made this event possible. Special thanks to the Row City Knitters at Otis Library who donated over 180 scarves and more than 100 hand-knitted hats and mittens the day of the event to keep our residents warm and throughout the season. Thank you to the Norwich Events Organization for the annual Winterfest parade that was held the next day, making it a festive weekend for the downtown for those who attended. After months of anticipation, the Norwich Sea Unicorns were selected as the name for the city's minor league baseball team and features the logo of a feisty gray narwhal holding a bat with a harpoon. Best of luck for the 2020 season. The other thing I didn't put on here was now the baseball team will have Norwich in their name, which is a departure from the past, which had Connecticut Tigers rather than Norwich. So that's important. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions of the city manager? Yes, Alderman Nash.
I don't have a question, I have more of a comment on the City Hall lighting. I just want people to, I do it a lot with Norwich, singing our praises, but if you don't think anything's happening in downtown Norwich, you're not coming down here. It was an incredible night. The festivities, a lot of our local establishments were full. The parade was exciting. It didn't necessarily spill into our establishments, but I think it was a little too early for some of those people. But I think if you haven't been downtown Norwich lately on a First Friday or an event like this, I know we have the Benedict Arnold thing coming up in January. Come to these events because there's a lot going on downtown, and you'll be very surprised for all those naysayers that Norwich is not changing. It certainly is, and you need to see it for yourself. So that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you. Is there further discussion or questions of the city manager? I would simply add that this past weekend was the Tommy Toy Fund Run on Friday evening, and there were many, many supporters of that great program that's gone on for decades in the city. And rumor has it there were a few Santas sighted on Saturday evening downtown Norwich as well. Actually, there were about 100 plus. I know I was one of them. And it was a lot of fun. and you couldn't get a seat in any of the restaurants that evening. They were just packed. There is a lot of activity going on. Thank you. All set, everyone else? Okay.
Citizen comment on resolutions.
I declare citizen comment on resolutions open. Again, we have one person who signed up, Mr. Marvin Cerruto.
Marvin Cerruto, 100 Star Street, Norwich, Connecticut, United States of America. On Resolution 10, Councilman Bill Nash, congratulations. Maybe early, but congratulations. You know, we've been working together quite a bit, and I'm always there for you, anything I can do for you.
Thank you.
On 11, Councilman Darrell Wilson, also. I'm a former school teacher. I'm involved with a Education Foundation, and I am a bully buster, most importantly. So anything I can do for you, let me know. And on Resolution 19, just some clarification. Okay, so here we get into some mathematics. If 10 people sign up and take 3 minutes, that's 30 minutes. So it's my understanding if 20 people sign up and they all take the 3 minutes, they'll be here for an hour. And believe me, I stay here, I go the distance. The only time you may see me leave is when there's e-board, and I know that it's beyond the scope of my understanding. Now, if it's less than 30 minutes and somebody wants to come forward from the audience, they can. However, if you make the 30 minutes or over with the written people or the signed up people, then nobody is called out from the audience. So I just want to make sure that that's fully the understanding so that it's not set in stone the 30 minutes, because I'd be against that if it was 30 minutes no matter what. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on the resolutions on the agenda this evening? Yes, Mr. Crabb.
Again, good evening. David Crabb, 47 Prospect Street. I'll address resolutions number 19 and 20. The Connecticut Constitution requires legal documents to be written in plain English. For example, Resolution 9 used the full page to describe every dotted I and crossed T since 1984, while Resolution 20 omits timeline dates. Note how the mayor sets the item order 1 hour before City Hall locks doors on Monday, on the Monday before a council meeting. Look back to whereas number 3, where attendees are listed by title for assisting the mayor. Plus, the rules describe a council secretary, and the council secretary must notify everyone on the podium right here at 4:30 on Friday. The city clerk described this set of rules as a freedom of information requirement. I believe it should be amended to remain with prior deadlines. For example, Thursday to have the agenda prepared for public disclosure. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on the resolutions on the agenda this evening? Anyone else like to speak on the resolutions? Third time, anyone like to address the resolutions on the agenda? Seeing no one else, declare citizen comment closed, and thank you.
Resolutions number 1, relative to appointments to the Harbor Management Commission.
Entertain a motion, please, to bring this forward. Yes, Alderman Wilson, second to Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Yes, Alderman DeLucia.
I would like to offer up an amendment to this resolution to add under number 2, Pro Tem Mark M. Betancourt.
Thank you. Is there a second? Alderman Nash, second. Is there discussion?
I volunteered.
You're a good guy.
He wasn't in the military. obviously.
All those in favor of the amendment? It's unanimous. On the resolution as now amended, is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. The vote is 7-0.
Number 2, relative to an appointment to the Dangerous Buildings Board of Review.
Motion, please, to bring it forward. Alderman Nash, second. Alderwoman Gould, is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous, 7-0. For members of the public, it's Alderwoman Gould being basically reappointed to the Dangerous Building Board of Review. 3, please.
Number 3, relative to appointments to the Public Parking Commission.
Motion, please, bring it forward. Alderwoman Miles, second by Alderman Nash. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. Vote is 7-0.
You just might want to say who it is.
Pardon me?
Who it is.
Oh, oops, okay. That'd be Alderman Nash, Alderwoman Gould, and Alderman Darrell Wilson, the Public Parking Commission.
Number 4, relative to appointments to the Recreation Advisory Board.
Motion, please. Alderman Miles, second. Alderman Nash. Is there discussion? Seeing none, for the benefit of the public, it is Alderman Nash and Alderman Wilson being appointed to the Rec Advisory Board. All those in favor? It's unanimous. The vote is 7-0.
Number 5, relative to an appointment to the Sachem Fund Board.
Motion, please. Bring it forward. Alderwoman Gould, second. Alderman Nash. Is there discussion? Seeing none, the person being appointed is Alderwoman Ella Miles to the Sachem Fund Board. All in favor? It's unanimous, 7-0.
Number 6, relative to an appointment to the Mohegan Park Improvement and Development Advisory Committee.
Is there a motion, please? Bring it forward. Alderman Miles, second. Alderman Nash. Is there discussion? Seeing none, the person being appointed to the MOPEEP Board is Alderwoman Stacy Gould. All those in favor? It's unanimous, 7-0.
Number 7, relative to appointments to the Monument Committee.
Motion, please. Bring it forward. Alderman Miles, Alderman Gould, seconded. Is there discussion? Seeing none. The people being appointed is Alderman Nash, Gould, and Miles. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Vote is 7-0.
Number 8, relative to appointments to the Plan of Conservation and Development Implementation Committee.
Motion, please. Alderman Nash, second. Alderman Wilson. Is there discussion? Seeing none. People being appointed are Mayor Nystrom and Alderwoman Miles. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Vote is 7-0.
Number 9, relative to an appointment to the Rehabilitation Review Committee.
Motion, please. Alderman Nash, second. Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Seeing none, this is an appointment to the Rehab Review Committee, and it is Alderwoman Gould. All those in favor? Unanimous, 7-0.
Number 10, relative to a reappointment of the Norwich Veterans Service Contact Person.
Motion, please. Bring it forward. Alderwoman Miles, is there a second? Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Seeing none, the person being appointed is Alderman Nash. All those in favor? Unanimous. Vote is 7-0.
Number 11, relative to an appointment of a liaison to the Board of Education.
Motion, please. Alderman Nash, second. Alderwoman Miles. Is there discussion? Yes, Alderman Bencourt.
I have an amendment to add. After Alderman Darrell Wilson in the text, it amended to read, to add the language, said appointees shall report either verbally or in writing to the public and to the full council at a minimum by the end of every quarter.
Thank you. Is there discussion?
Is there a second?
I'm sorry. Is there a second? Yes. Alderman Nash. Is there further discussion on the motion?
On the amendment.
To amend, yes. Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment? It's unanimous. On the resolution as amended, is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. The vote is 7-0.
Relative to an appointment of a liaison to the Board of Education.
A motion to bring this forward, please. Alderwoman Gould, second by Alderman Nash. Is there discussion? Alderman Nash.
I'd like to add that same amendment that Pro Tem Betancourt had added to the 11 to 12.
Is there a second? Alderwoman Gould. Just for clarification, that would be quarterly reports. Is there discussion on the amendment? All those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed?
Oh, to the amendment?
To the
The
amendment.
amendment.
Sorry,
Yeah.
misunderstood.
No, that's okay.
I am in favor of the amendment.
Thank you. Okay, so then the vote on the amendment was 7-0. Is there further discussion on the resolution as amended? Just for a point of clarity, I'd like to offer the single largest issue we have, the city going forward, is a balanced budget. Our Board of Education is generally 2/3 of our spending. And with all of the concern we have going forward, it was my request that with Stacy's years of experience of being in this position, that the council might benefit by having 2 liaisons. There are times when a member may not be able to make a meeting, and this simply gives us 2 people to be able to get that information and get us back to it. That's why this is before us. Yes, Alderman DeLucia.
At this time, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for a brief recess in order to caucus.
It's your right, certainly. Is there a second for that motion? Yes. Second by Alderman Wilson. All those in favor of a recess? It's passed. Yes? Yes. I entertain a motion to come back from recess, please. Alderwoman Miles, and seconded by Pro Tem Betancourt. All those in favor? Thank you. We are back on Resolution 12 as amended. The floor is, yes, Alderman DeLucia.
I would only say that I can only speak for myself. I listened to what you said, Mr. Mayor, and took it under serious consideration, and I am ready to vote.
Thank you. Okay. Is there further discussion on the resolution as amended? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. Vote is 7-0.
Number 13, relative to a reappointment of Assistant Corporation Counsel.
A motion, please, to bring it forward. Alderman Nash, second Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It was unanimous, vote is 7-0. The person being reappointed is Attorney Amy Wickles as the Assistant Corporate Counsel.
Number 14, relative to the provision of legal services for the city of Norwich.
A motion, please, to bring it forward. Alderman Wilson, second by Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion or question? Yes, Pro Tem, that's correct.
Going to ask Corporation Counsel for the benefit of those that at home and the new council people here to explain what this is.
This is a resolution that we've adopted generally at this meeting in past years. In addition to the Corporation Counsel and the Assistant Corporation Counsel, there are a number of law firms and lawyers who work for the city in various ways. This list tries to identify them. A good number are selected by insurance companies. When we have a claim and we have insurance for it, the insurance company appoints a lawyer or law firm to represent the city. So I've identified the ones that are principally working for the city at this time. We also have a firm that formerly handled collections for the tax department in Rhode Island. They still have some liens on property, so they might have to act to collect a lien at some point going forward. We then have the firm of Scott & Scott, which represents the city in connection with the national opioid litigation, the class action. They represent a number of towns in Connecticut, including Norwich. Those are ongoing. We have Attorney Langhammer and Attorney Skates and other counsel as necessary will appear if there are conflicts that my office has. I've listed the lawyers in my office who do work for the city on specific problems or issues if it comes up, particularly with respect to employment law. I've listed Attorney Eileen Duggan and Kenneth Plum, as well as attorneys from their firm, as they serve as special legal counsel for labor issues for the city. Attorney Duggan does work specifically for the police department, and Attorney Plum has been involved in a number of matters which have involved the city and disputes of various sorts. Then the firm of Pullman and Comley has been bond counsel. Michael Andriana and Stephen Staffstrom are two attorneys presently representing the city from that firm, as well as others working with them. And finally, such other attorneys as may be necessary, be it for tax or whatever else, if issues arise. So that's the purpose of this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Nash?
Now, just to clarify too, these other attorneys aren't on retainers, like we're not spending money to keep them on this piece of paper, are we?
No, they're paid by the hour
Right.
as necessary, or with the insurance companies, they're generally paid. The city does have deductibles on most of the policies, and many claims settle within the deductible, so the city is paying their legal bills, but other times it's well beyond that, and the insurance company pays it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Is there further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Resolution 14? It's unanimous. The vote is 7-0. And thank you all.
Number 15, relative to appointments and reappointments to the Harbor Management Commission. This is city manager's appointments.
Motion, please, bring it forward. Alderwoman Gould, second by Alderwoman Miles. Is there discussion? For the benefit, the people being appointed are H. Tucker Braddock, Michael Gualtieri, Michael Aliano, and Sophia LeWitt. All those in favor of resolution? It's unanimous. Vote is 7-0. Thank you.
Number 16, relative to reappointments of regular members to the Inland Wetland Watercourses and Conservation Commission.
Motion, please, bring it forward. Alderwoman Gould, second Alderman Nash. Is there discussion? No discussion. The person being appointed Inland Wetlands Watercourse Conservation Commission is Mr. Robert McCoy. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. 7-0.
Number 17, relative to listing property with Allen and Associates Realtor at 58 Division Street.
Motion, please, to bring it forward. Alderman Gould, second Alderwoman Miles. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Vote is unanimous, 7-0.
Number 18, relative to request for proposal to demolish the property at 270 West Thames Street.
A motion, please, to bring it forward. Alderman Nash, is there a second? Alderwoman Miles, is there discussion? I will simply add a few bits of information. This property is owned by the city. It is in great disrepair. The roofs have collapsed. The floors have collapsed in on themselves. This building sits over a water cul-de-sac that runs eventually down into the Thames River. And the building is in really grave condition. If it collapses and we do nothing, in all likelihood, it will block that cul-de-sac, causing other floodway issues. And I would point out that this building sits in a floodway as defined by the EPA, which is an area where high-velocity water frequents during peak rain and other events. And because of that, I think it's in the best interest of the city to remove this structure at this time. Yes, Alderman Betancourt.
Do we have any current estimates from Public Works or anybody as to the cost?
No, that's the reason.
Not at this point.
No, that's the
So
reason for the.
are we looking at a bond issue down the road, or?
No.
No.
We're looking for,
No, this is a request for proposals, and I can tell you that in the capital plan, there is a line item for demolition, whereas in previous years, there was not.
Did we use that up yet?
No.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Is there further questions or discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's unanimous. Vote is 7-0.
Number 19, relative to establishing the time of the third Monday of each council meetings to 7:30 p.m.
A motion, please, to bring it forward. Alderwoman Gould, second Alderman Nash. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's unanimous, 7-0. Is the vote.
Number 20, relative to amending the Norwich City Council Rules of Procedure.
A motion, please, to bring it forward. Alderwoman Miles, second Alderman Wilson. Is there discussion? Alderman Nash.
I just have one of the concerns I have with this. I don't have a problem with most of it. The concern I have is when you're talking about one Democrat, one Republican, or one member from each party. The things I'm confused about is, A, why would you want to lock someone out if someone can't make it, if someone else can? And what happens if there's a third party up here, like a unaffiliated or independent, that now makes it 4 members at an agenda setting, which now makes it a meeting? So my concern is two phases. One, I don't have a problem with the time or anything like that, but my concern is if we call ahead of time, let's say, just for instance, I call and say I can make it, and then Mr. Wilson says he can make it, and then I say, maybe I can't make it now because something came up, and Stacy can't make it. Now you're only going to have you and the other person there. Why lock out another person? Why can't a message be sent out to say, hey, Stacy and Bill can't make it, anybody else want to go? I just feel that we're limiting ourselves to just, I don't know, I think we're tying our hands and we don't need to do that. If you want to make it one from each party, I got no problem with that. That's fine with me. Listen, I've never tried to hone in, but I just feel that we're locking somebody out. So let's say all the Democrats can't make it and the 2 Republicans can, one of us is getting locked out, and I don't know where that benefits the purpose or the process. That's my only question. Maybe one of the people who signed on could answer that.
I'll take a shot.
Oh, okay. Pro Tem Betancourt.
Part of the issue, I think, is just simple fairness, and that we wanted to spread the wealth around, if you would. I think our situation is such that we'd probably have people rotating in that kind of situation, and we want everybody to really have that kind of experience, both new and old, and we didn't want it to just be a first come, first serve basis where people who maybe got the email and could answer, get to be in that agenda setting. Like this, for this meeting, it was yourself and Alderman Gould. So rather than have that particular scenario, we'd rather have one where it was fair to both parties. I think your other point that you mentioned, I think, has some validity. And that, what happens if we have an independent or a third party person up here? I think that's something we'd have to address if, we have that. So, but right now, that situation doesn't apply. So for this particular council, I think this rule is adequate.
Alderman Nash.
I don't have a problem with the one of each. That's not the issue. The issue is, what if one of each can't make it? And again, I'll go back to Stacy and I, we're the Republicans here. We can't make it. Neither one of us can make it, but only one of you are going to go. Why limit that? A second Democrat or a second member should be allowed to attend. Don't lock them out. That's all I'm saying. If it's, obviously, we're going to rotate as well because both of us can make them. So say I make this week, Stacy makes next time, whatever. I'm not even talking about that. What I'm saying to you is, what if one of us can't make it and there's an open seat? Why lock out another member? That's all I'm saying. If you want people to get the experience, that's fine. If the two Republicans can't get to the agenda setting, don't say, oh, only one Democrat can come. No, ask someone else to go. Let them get that experience. I just don't want to see us limiting us to that situation. That's all I'm saying. And I have no problem supporting this. I don't want to support it when you're locking somebody out. I'm not going to support that. But if you want to change it so that I don't care if it's one of each. This way, there's no worry about who's jumping on it. It's the four of you and the two of us. So one of us will be there, one of us won't be there. But if neither one of us can show up, for God's sake, let one of the others go. That's all I'm saying.
Alderwoman Gould.
I agree with Alderman Nash about, making it only one person from each party. And my second concern is that this puts, I think, we're dumping something else on the poor city clerk, Betsy Barrett, to now keep track of, take care of, send out a notice, don't send out a notice. Well, what if I send my notice 3 days in advance? Can I send it 4 days in advance? Maybe I'd like to send it now that I'm coming to the next agenda setting. It says no more than two. It has to be at least 2 business days in advance. So can I be 5 business days in advance? I think it's an unfair burden to put on the city clerk to keep track of all of this. And if I didn't do it, then she's got to send me out a reminder. And then if I don't respond, she's got to call me back. And if Bill doesn't respond, she's got to call him. And I think it's unfair to Betsy.
It's a council secretary, actually, that handles, is going to wind up handling
Which
the
is
process.
the city clerk, Betsy Barrett,
No.
is the council secretary.
No.
That's what Michael said in the agenda setting. It was news to us, too.
If you substitute the word the mayor's clerk, the mayor's secretary, it may resolve that question.
Alderman DeLucia.
So, on the first point that Alderman Nash made and Pro Tem Betancourt has already addressed, when it comes to a third-party person having been elected, absolutely right. We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. We have the right to amend our rules at any point in it, and we could deal with that very easily. I do find it interesting that the example is, well, if quoting Alderman Nash, if I can't make it, if Stacy can't make it, well, I would find that almost unlikely because of the fact that for the last 2 years, 90% of the time, you have both been sitting at agenda setting. And be that as it may, if you read the last 2 sentences of this resolution, it says that, and we can amend the council secretary, because I know that that we might have some confusion with the titles, but I'll deal with that in a moment. Okay, but if the council secretary has not received such notification from at least 2 members of the council, the council secretary shall give notice of the same to all members of the council simultaneously, no later than 4:30 on the Friday preceding the meeting. Okay, and at that point, whoever is available can say, yes, I can be there.
Yeah, it doesn't say that, though, Joe. It needs to. We need to add that.
Well, clearly that is the intent. Any member of the council intending to be present must notify, it'll be the mayor's secretary, will amend that, at least 2 business days in advance of the setting of the order of business. Why, I mean, we can add to that, but why would we say that the council secretary shall give notice of that to all the members of the council simultaneously, if not to prompt someone to say, okay, I know DeLucia can't be there, I'll go instead. The idea and the intent behind this is that for now, while we are just Ds and Rs, the Democratic caucus will decide who will attend and notify the mayor's secretary, as we will amend in a moment, and the Republican caucus will do the same. They will decide amongst themselves who's going to attend and notify the mayor's secretary. And those will be the two people there. That is the spirit and the intent of this entire resolution, is that to have that the opportunity for the bipartisan participation in the agenda setting meeting. Plain and simple. And if none of the four of us could be there, and Alderman Nash and Alderman Gould are both available, then you're more than welcome to sit in. But the opportunity for each caucus to have somebody at that meeting needs to be established.
So, Bettencourt.
So I would motion to amend every place where it says council secretary in the resolution to substitute mayor's secretary.
Is there a second?
First.
Second by Alderman Miles. Okay, the amendment as offered replaces the word council with mayor, so it will now read mayor, secretary, at least 2 business days in advance of the setting of the order of the business. If the mayor's secretary has not received such notification from at least 2 members of the council, the mayor's secretary shall give notice of the same to all members of the council simultaneously, no later than 4:30 p.m. Is everyone clear on that? Okay. All those in favor as the amendment is offered? That is unanimous. On the resolution as amended, is there further discussion? Alderman Nash.
Again, I just want to stress the concerns that I have about one of each. I don't have a problem with one showing up of each party. I got no problem with that. I want to make sure that's completely understood. I don't care. Okay, so for the unlikeliness that I am not going to be able to make the agenda setting, or Stacy cannot make the agenda setting, I just didn't want to lock out another member of the council who might be able to attend that meeting. That's my only concern.
On that point.
Thank you. Pro Tem Bettencourt.
So I'll make a motion for another amendment, all right? At the end of the resolution, after it says may be given by electronic means, at that point, any available member of the council of the city of Norwich may schedule their attendance.
Seconded by Alderman Wilson. Is there discussion on this amendment? Just for clarity, when you say any, you are only referring to 2.
Right.
Because you can't have
Right,
4.
well, obviously.
Of either,
I'm talking about
either
any.
party.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
either.
by the party.
Yeah.
That's the intent.
Got it.
Let me just address the council on this. This is not a meeting.
Correct.
Setting an agenda is excluded from that. So the purpose is to set the agenda that people will have a chance to present their resolutions and ordinances to be organized. But it is not a meeting in the context that I think it could be confused in some of the comments I made.
Yeah. I understand.
Okay. Is there further discussion on this amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of this amendment, please. Is that a question, Joe?
I do have a question. I just,
Okay.
I'm
I'll
just
withdraw
want to be
that
clear
request.
about the actual text of this amendment, of how we're actually stating this.
Do you want to hear it again?
Yes, please.
At that point, any available member of the council of the city of Norwich may schedule their attendance.
I agree that we need to limit that. To the mayor's point, we need to be clear about that being limited to 2 members of the council other than the mayor.
Any member not totaling more than 2. Any not totaling more than 2. How's that?
Any 2 members.
Any 2 members?
Why not remake it any 2
Well,
members?
no, well, let that, because it may be we're only looking for one other person.
I'm sorry. Well,
This is getting confusing.
again, so earlier in the paragraph, it does say no more than 2 members
Right.
of the
So it's
council
already
of the city
been
of Norwich may
addressed.
assist.
Right.
And I thought that was in there, I just needed to find
Yeah,
it.
it's-
Okay, so I am, Mr. Mayor, if I'd like to, so I am satisfied with Pro Tem Betancourt's original amendment, because the limit of 2 members of the council is already prior stated in the text.
Thank you. Is there further discussion on? Seeing none, all those in favor of this amendment? It is unanimous. Now, on Resolution 20, as amended by the 2 previous amendments, is there further discussion or concern? President Pro Tem Betancourt.
Just quickly, I hope I've addressed your concerns.
I want to say thank you for your consideration on that. I just didn't want to lock nobody out, that's all.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? I have a brief comment. One, agenda setting, as the corporate council pointed out, is not an official meeting of the council. It's basically a work meeting to set an agenda. Previous mayors have held agenda setting at 9 a.m. in the morning with no council member invited or attending. In fact, my predecessor, the times were all over the calendar based on her schedule. Sometimes it was in the morning, sometimes it was at 1 o'clock, other times it was at 3. The last 2 years, we tried to establish a set time of 3. And during that process, every member of the previous council was given the same notice at the same time, every time, and it was known and stated in the rules that it had to go out on Wednesday, I believe, by 3:30. Prior to that. And it was simply set up as a way of notifying that there were seats available, to invite members to attend. At agenda setting, an agenda is put together, there are no votes taken, and quite frankly, the amount of time we've spent on this is puzzling to me. But be that as it may. All those in favor of the resolution as amended? It's unanimous. Vote 7-0. Yeah. Does she have it?
I hereby
Alderwoman
move pursuant to Connecticut General Statute, Section 1-200, subsection 6, that the members of the Norwich City Council go into an executive session for the purpose of discussing strategies and negotiations with respect to collective bargaining. The following shall be asked to participate during all or portions of this executive session at the request of the City Council. City Manager John Salamone, Director of Human Resources Bridget Marks, Finance Director Josh Pothier, and Corporate Counsel Michael Driscoll. I hereby further move pursuant to Connecticut General Statute Section 1-200, subsection 6, that the members of the Norwich City Council go into executive session for the purpose of discussing strategy and negotiations with respect to pending claims and litigation. City Manager John Salamone, Finance Director Josh Pothier, and Corporation Counsel Michael Driscoll shall be asked to participate during all or portions of this executive session at the request of the City Council.
Is there a second? Alderman Nash. All those in favor? Council, come back to order. A motion, please, by Pro Tem Betancourt, second. Alderman Wilson. All those in favor to return? Unanimous. 4-7-0.
Resolution number 21, relative the approval of the Municipal Employees Union Independent City Hall Supervisors Collective Bargaining Unit Agreement and the related budget changes to the fiscal year 2019-2020.
A motion, please, to bring this forward. Alderwoman Miles, second by Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Yes, Alderman DeLucia.
So I just have so I know that we just, oh, never mind, I see it. That's, the difference between I just wasn't sure which union we were talking about and which, in each resolution, but I see it now, so thank you, I don't have a question.
You're welcome. Sure. Is there further discussion or question? Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution? Nobody wants to vote?
Nobody's in favor? All opposed?
Oh, okay. All those in favor of the resolution? All those opposed to the resolution?
Did Stacy vote?
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
What was the vote? What was the vote?
Vote was 7,
No,
0, 4, 7 against.
Number 22, relative to the approval of the Public Works Supervisors Local 818 Council 4 ASME Collective Bargaining Unit Agreement and the related budget changes to the fiscal year 2019-2020.
Motion, please, bring this forward. Alderwoman Miles, second Alderman Wilson. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous, vote is 7-0.
Wait a minute.
What? I'm sorry?
I don't know if everybody voted.
Everyone voted affirmative on this resolution, I believe.
Yes. I did not.
You did not. I apologize. Those in favor? Those opposed? Thank you. Motion passes 6-1. My apology. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Alderwoman Gould, second. Alderwoman Miles. All those in favor of adjournment?